began with a dream, literally a dream. The founder, Catherine Roberts' son, was deployed in Iraq. And this is a quote from her, which started the foundation. The dream was as vivid as real life. I saw a young man sitting on the side of his bed in the middle of the night, hunched over. The permeating feeling was one of utter despair. I could see his war demons clustered around, dragging him down into an emotional gutter. Then, as if viewing a movie, I saw him in the next scene, wrapped in a quilt. His whole demeanor changed from one of despair to one of hope and well-being. The quilt had made this dramatic change. The message of my dream was, quilts equal healing, and hence the beginning of the Quilts of Valor Foundation. She insisted that a Quilt of Valor be a quality-made quilt, not just a charity quilt. It had to be quilted, not tied, which meant hand or machine quilting. It had to be awarded, not just passed out like a magazine or a box of chocolates. And each veteran was to hear the words, "Thank you for your service, sacrifice, and valor in serving our nation." So the process is, first, a veteran is nominated, and his or her information is shared with the state representative, who enters the name in a database and checks for previous quilt activity. Volunteers and guilds donate their time and materials to make a quilt. A certificate is prepared and given to the guild or individual person making the presentation. As of 1973, today's modern military is comprised of volunteers. Years prior to that saw a mandatory draft process. Whether draftee or volunteer, each step forward to ensure a way of life is protected for their fellow citizens. They give up their freedom, time at home with loved ones, make other sacrifices, and ultimately had and have no guarantee of their personal safety. I have statistics from the Quilts of Valor Foundation about the number of quilts that have been presented. Last month, 2,214. Year to date for 2025, 9,398 quilts have been presented. The lifetime total since the beginning of the Quilts of Valor Foundation, the number is 410,759 quilts.
Wow.
The quilts are made with many hands. First, a pattern is selected, then fabric purchased, fabric cut, kits made, more hands help with the piecing, then the quilting, then the binding, and finally a veteran identified and a label made. So by the time you receive your quilt, 8 or 10 members at least have worked on them. A lot of hands. I'd like, before we start with the presentation, I'd like to give a big thank you to Grace Boxwell, who, it's an honor to have you here. Hal enlisted in the Air Force in 1950 and attended basic at Lackland Air Force Base. He did his initial training as Air Force Police at Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. He later attended aviation cadet training program and was commissioned as an officer. He flew B-47s and B-52s during his career. He spent 8 years at Lockport Air Force Base in Columbus, Ohio. He retired in 1970 as a major. Wow. B-52s, those really big ones? Big ugly ones? Okay, they're going to drape the quilt around you. There you go. Thank you for your service. And I'm going to Harold Hinkle. The Quilts of Valor Foundation wishes to recognize you for your service to our nation. We consider it our privilege to do so. Though we may never know the extent of your sacrifice to protect and defend the United States of America, we award you this Quilt of Valor as an expression of gratitude from a grateful nation. Thank you, sir. Thank you.